Hi folks, I'm Brett Maytom. I'm a principal consultant at Ready Farm. Yeah, I've been in the industry about 25 years now, and yeah, that's a lot of time to make a lot of mistakes. All right, so I've learned a lot of valuable lessons. I'm actually in a very fortunate position because I go around seeing a lot of teams and interacting with a lot of teams, and I find in my travels and what I see, it's things that work well and things that don't work well between different teams. Some teams have got some areas very right and it adds for a successful product, and other teams don't. And I can compare. So I've put this presentation together with the areas of what I find works across different teams. So I'm going to jump straight into it. So at the end of the day, as a business, what are we trying to achieve in creating a high-performance team? We want to build great software quickly, all right, at a good pace, and that yields the highest return of investment to the product owner or to that business, all right? So we come up with Scrum or some Agile principle. But as we start mastering it, we get thrown with all these terminologies at us, and very quickly it becomes overwhelming and confusing and velocities and everything, and we start misinterpreting things and things go wrong, right? So what we need to do and say, let's step back a little bit and let's look at what we're trying to do. As a team, we just want to get better and better all the time. Increase our velocities, make sure we're delivering high quality, good software consistently at a sustainable pace. All right. But a lot of teams are struggling to get this right, all right? And they can't get this true agility. Now, as a business, how do you actually go around and start looking at helping teams break free of all these challenges? Now, the first thing is I'm going to look at areas that I find a lot of teams struggle around is the equipment that they have and the environment that they work at. So this is the first part. In order for any development team, now to me the word development team, from analysis, getting the requirements, all the way to deployment in production, it's the development team, right? Not programmers, right? Firstly, desktop machines, one of the challenge areas, need well-spec'd hardware, all right? All right. I've come across so many teams that they don't have good hardware. Their administrative rights on their machines are restrictive. A lot of junk on their machines, can't do anything. Productivity of that development team is right down. I think this is one of the challenges, no dual monitors for those teams. So they're context switching, working in an isolated virtual environment. I've got some clients where devs don't have internet access. Sorry. All right. Okay. Yeah. So you're sitting there. I've gone to some other clients where the internet access is so slow that you actually take your iPad and you're actually going through. Now the fun is actually trying to get code to yourself. So you actually go on your iPad, find code, copy and paste it in your external Gmail and send it to yourself. It's just crazy. Devs need that ability. We're going on to little repositories, there's open source code out there. We want to make use of this. So you need well-spec. Yeah, this is an interactive session, hey?
So sort of cause now, is that just a prospect? Is it just that the business doesn't cross those particular people, or then in the past? Where does that idea come from? Now, I've looked at it.
All right, corporate governance. All right, so in the past, let's say when I started 20 years ago, you did everything. You programmed, you installed the hardware, you supported it, you trained it, all right, you documented it. You can't do that today. But with this, you get configuration changes, accidental changes in production. We've also got now privacy policies, all right, again, just information. So we can't get access to any sensitive information that could potentially impact customer-sensitive data. And there's quite a lot of new governance and legislation in place that we have to address. And we need to put those barriers in to do that. Nothing wrong with that kind of governance. All right, so there's nothing wrong with that governance, and that's where it stems from. But in this, when there are problems, how do you deal with it? Add more policy in. All right. There you go. All right, and there's that balance going through. So yes, we've got to be pragmatic around that. I can go for the tangent. All right. The other side is your development tooling and licenses. All right. There's a lot of good tools out there. It doesn't matter what platform you're working on, if you're in the .NET world or the Java world or whatever, Ruby, whatever you code in. There's a lot of good tooling out there. Get the tools for your developers. All right. There's a lot of tools to help refactoring code. There's a lot of tools to help test automation. All right. Traceability from test automation. So make sure your developers have those tooling that they need to be able to be productive. Right. Without that, you know what, guys, I need you to run a marathon, but while you're running this marathon, take this 20 kg backpack and run with that. Right? Oh, by the way, you've got 2 hours. Right? It's not going to work. All right, so with the tooling side, I basically have mentioned this, the additional tooling that you get out there. A lot of third-party vendors, some here today, yeah, use it. All right? Don't reinvent the wheel. Use it. All right? Be pragmatic. Try to do the best. Use the best tools for the teams. All right. Next side is dealing with requirement management. All right. From a tooling point of view, this is pretty important because this is your intellectual property. So in the Agile world, we're saying we don't want you to document unnecessary. So we want you to document the right stuff. All right. So capture the essence of the intellectual property, but don't waffle it out. All right? Don't go and elaborate it with tons of waffle to make a nice big 30-page document. Cut to the essence of it. Normal requirements can handle this, but there's a lot of stakeholders involved here. There's from product owner side, business stakeholders, external users, through to the development team, testers, management, a lot of interested party. How are you going to communicate and go through? Having this on one person's desktop in an Excel spreadsheet, nah, doesn't really cut for it. You're not giving that visibility that everyone needs on those requirements. So when you're looking at the tooling, look at what tools you're using from a requirement side. How can we retain and capture the essence of what we need to do? How do we capture simple diagrams, documents? It could even be the simple side of a whiteboard where you stand up, draw a couple diagrams on a wall, and get that scanned in, recorded, put it into a library. That little whiteboard discussion is enough context.
So you talk about tooling for this. Is it your experience that having software tools for this is a universally good thing? Or, I mean, I've worked with teams that do everything in V1 versus teams that have literally a physical room where the walls are papered with cards. And my experience is it seems to work in both cases.
Yeah.
Do you have
Depends on your size of your team. All right, so, and your location of your team. All right, so if you are not co-located, obviously you need to have some kind of distributed side. But also, what about keeping information that are to your stakeholders that are not part of your team, that are not involved or located with you? So to the product owner, to external users, how do they see that progress? You want to get the whole business, even though there's one product owner that's running with it, there's a lot of other interested parties. They need to buy into this as well.
One of the biggest ones I've found with the electronic ones actually is free stats. If it's a good system, you can get a lot, you mine a lot of data out of it trivially, which is
Yes.
awesome. But then you get nice visual tactile feedback from Cardinals too, so.
Yeah, I'm very tactile. In a small team, in a co-located room, nothing beats a wall. Just put up a few stickies on the wall, some diagrams, some pictures. There you go. Enough said. Everyone's happy. When you're dealing with bigger teams, unfortunately, I normally deal with pretty much enterprise teams, 9, 10, 15 teams in one go. So I'm used to bigger teams, very big backlogs. So yeah, from a big backlog side, I think your tooling is important. If you're a small team, small set of developers, depends on your nature of work as well. So if you're dealing with like a maintenance type team, you know what? A little Kanban wall with cards, crisis management. Okay, this is our task for the next 24 hours. This is number one priority today. Right, obviously, your source control, right? So you're writing code, you need source control, version control. Don't care what version control platform is, there's not a debate on what is best, but you need a good version control for code. I was horrified how many people I go to still aren't using version control, all right? It like compiles on my machine, and here it is. You know what? Like GitHub, Bitbucket, they're free. All right?
Sorry, I'm chipping in again, sorry.
No, go.
Yes. Well, documents, like if we now think, right, if you have, in my opinion, if you have a document that you've written up that is important enough to be shared with people, I think that is better off version as well. But the tools, well, yeah, of course, but not so much in many places. And I mean, Office does that to an extent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You might want to have a look at knowledge tree. You might want to have a look at knowledge tree.
Okay.
So a product called Knowledge Tree. Yeah, there's a lot of good there's a lot of good products that help for that document management and integration products. I'm not here to discuss platforms. I have my own chirps. Okay, I'm a Microsoft fan, so enough said.
So TFS is going to be like a stand-up, right?
I'm not saying anything. All right. So don't go there, Brett. So yes, you do need documents. Keep the information. I agree 100% with you. The closer to the code, the better. All right. So if you're keeping your intellectual property closer to the code, it's less likely to get outdated. All right. Talking on documentation, just tangent again. That's why I asked for an hour. My experience is, okay, I'm a dev. I get a spec, yay long document. I look at it, I get scared, and I say, PA, come explain it to me. Sit down, have a chat. I go away and I code. All right? That document doesn't get read unless there's some factual formula or something that I have to reference and pull out of it. Document's outdated. So a lot of effort was put in, and the person that actually is supposed to be looking at it asked it to be explained and then doesn't use it. So how do we deal with keeping those requirements in a way? And I'll talk about how to do that in a while. Continuous integration. The teams that I find that are really motoring and getting a high performance have got some continuous integration pipeline. From commit check-in to running their unit test very quickly, getting a build out, a debug build, running unit tests, compiling a release build, creating a package. Testers can now use it. 5-10 minutes and that cycle's done. A tester can pick that up and start using it. So in a budding pair, you want this heartbeat going. I'm working on a requirement, test it. 10 minutes later over coffee, tester can pick it up and start building that. Then your longer running test, your integration tests, your behavioral test, your test automation tests start kicking in. All right? And those can take a couple hours to run, but you want that feedback cycle through. Now the teams that I'm finding their velocities are really good, the quality is through the roof. They have these tools in place. If you're not having some form of continuous integration, even if it's something simple of just compiling your code and creating a package, all right, for every check-in, consider starting somewhere. Don't try to do everything at one go. Just continually improve. What's the spirit of Agile? Inspect and adapt. So constantly inspect and adapt and improve. and just keep going on it. And slowly the team will mature and get better and better at it. Right? And this is one of the things you need to really work on. The tool sets are maturing quite a lot. There's a couple products, yes, that one, but also on other platforms as well. So if you look at things like TeamCity, Bamboo, all right, Cruise Control, they're brilliant products. Nothing wrong with them from a continuous integration point of view. All right, really, there's nothing wrong. For me, the argument is not a matter of which is the tool. Do you have at least some kind of continuous integration tool? That's more important than any other question. So go through and have that continuous integration going through, start using it, getting the team. As you evolve, get better and better at using more and more functionality in it. One of the things on continuous integration, just point you out, focus on the way you're writing your tests from a unit testing point of view. Good teams, unit tests, run in memory, very quick, even a couple thousand, sub 10 minutes to compile, create a package, and run the unit tests. 10 minutes max, right? If there's any external resource, dependency check, disk, database, anything like that, no, all right? Those are integration tests. They run afterwards. The reason why you want this, all right, is you need to get a package that a test buddy can pick up and run with, all right, as quick as possible, all right? That's what you want. You want your testers to pick that up very quickly. I have unfortunately gone into some teams where builds took 3-4 hours to get till a tester could actually pick it up, all right? It breaks. Testers down for a day, all right? It breaks again. 4 days later, testers crying, I haven't got a build, all right? You can't work like that, all right? It's just, you're running Agile in a waterfall fashion, all right? It just doesn't work. You need that throughput. You need that heartbeat going, all right? Another challenge area, lab environment. From a testing point of view, oh, we need to deploy. Ooh, we need servers, all right? Virtualization is your friend, all right? Testers should have a virtual environment. I can spin up a machine when I need to, all right? So there's a lot of tooling out there, different platforms. Set up a virtual machine environment, spin it up, deploy over several environments, do system integration testing. You can go through and work in this environment. So we'll have a look at the lab environment. It assists with testers quite immensely. Shared environments just kind of don't work. All right. I have also gone through a couple of clients where there's certain physical equipment, certain like I-series boxes that you have to have. Unfortunately, you're stuck with that equipment. It's like a physical machine that you have to use for testing. Then unfortunately, you're going to have slowness in your test cycles, right? Work around those, but try to get as much of your test environment in a virtual environment as possible.
So a pattern that really works quite well is to have a mix of all three. So a lot of environments shared, but also if you can get it running, if you get the application, at least a component of it running from a dev box, you can get the most amazing rapid feedback. It was going, well, I don't think this quite works. Hang on, give me literally 30 seconds. Boom, and they're connected into your dev environment.
Yeah.
So that is
yeah. So from a build and is this kind of right? Perfect. But does it work together?
Yeah, oh, totally, yes.
Yeah, I'm using more the lab environment more for the integrational type testing, not that functional development. I look at a tester's role in a Scrum team. They are responsible for building quality. Programmers build functional code. Testers build quality.
The earlier you can get them into that cycle, so if you can get them using the thing hands-on while you're still developing it, then you get, I find, it wins out the other end, basically.
I don't know, who went to the talks on the testing this morning? A common trend was there, is testers should be able to say, get the code, check it out, build it. All right? All right, so as a dev cycle, you build, you check in, tester can pull it immediately and test it. Hey, we're doing exploratory type. I'm writing code, you testing it. It's a pair. All right, so that's what you do want. Sorry, testers, you're going to need to learn how to check out code and compile it. All right, and okay, there's a difference between testing functional point of view. Does the app work and does it do what it requires, versus does it integrate? All right, does it run standalone? Does it deploy? Does it scale? Does it perform? Okay, your whole ALM cycle. So in a summary, you need to look at the whole ALM cycle from your application lifecycle management. So it's covering everything from the requirements through to the testing, all the way through to the deployment, defects, work planning. Preferably, there's tools on a lot of platforms that allow you to do integration across those sides. So for example, test analysis, you're running your regression manual test. That tracks what lines of code actually run, right? Developer changes that line of code in source code, it will do analysis and say, please run these manual tests again. All right? So from a regressional cycle, that if you've got a lot of manual tests, unfortunately we can't get away with it. No automation can tell you that white on white doesn't look good. All right, so you still need that human experience side and the usability aspect to the testing. Does this make sense as a user? You can't automate that. All right, so you still need a lot of that manual testing. You don't want the testers to have to run everything. Just run what you manually need to run by the impact of your test analysis. Those things are pretty powerful. They're there. A lot of manufacturers, a lot of vendors in the ALM space offer this. All right. So from a workspace physical location point of view, from a team side, from a high performance team, co-location, first prize. All right. You can't have your BAs sitting over there and the testers over there and developers there and call yourself Agile. Right? Co-location. You need to sit over and say, you know what, Brett, you can't spell. Yeah, no, I can't. All right, and I'll fix it. So you need to be able to shout at each other over the desk, right, and fix it. Have a look here. Is this kind of right? Right, and do this. Or, sorry, I don't know what you mean. You need that communication, collaboration, communication. That's what makes it happen, right? Forget the paperwork, documents, and email. Just talk, all right? If you are not co-located, please make sure you've got good communication tools, instant messaging, video Skyping, whatever it is. Make sure you have. I have worked with distributed teams over oceans, so that does work, but you have to have really, really good communication mechanisms in your teams for that to be successful. Without that, you're going to be seriously challenged. Open plan for development team, all right. Yes, we don't want little cubicles. We want people in the team to be able to work together. Why? Context, all right. Get a sense of we're all working on this problem. This is our wall, this is our backlog, this is our problem, all right. You've got that sense of ownership. This is what we're trying to fix. This is what we're trying to get done, right? And tag, you guys are doing that, you guys are doing something else, I'm doing this. We're all in that loop. Also the noticeability of something's not going right there. Let me inject. That's why it's the open plan side. If everyone's in their little islands, it's okay. One thing I don't like though is big open floor teams where you've got 20 teams sitting together. The noise level I find is normally too high. So areas per team, preferably. But unfortunately, the furniture police and office space police come in and design it in a certain way. And cost saving, 2-inch by 2-inch photo frame on your desk that's going to be so big. Right, so yes, preferably co-located, team isolation. Team separation, all right, try as little external interruption to the team as possible. The team needs to be isolated so they can focus on, this is our iteration, this is our sprint, this is what we have to do. Right? Not other involvements of, oh, we need you to attend this meeting for the sprint coming down 20 sprints away, and oh, we want you in this forum and that forum. Too many context switches slows down the team. Right? If you look at the Scrum world or Agile world, there's a couple ceremonies. Those are the only meetings you should be doing. All right? So you've got your sprint plannings, you've got your retrospectives, all right? You've got your daily scrums, all right, to go through, and your sprint review. Tag, those are the meetings, all right? If you're going to more meetings than that, maybe unless your CEO calls one for a general sign, something's wrong, all right? You're not walking towards your wall, your sprint goal, nah, all right? If it's about work that's coming in the next sprint, oh, are we doing sprint grooming right now? No, tough. Or backlog grooming? Nah, my goal is tag to get done. That ain't going to help me get that done. Cultural change, that mindset change. The focus is to get what's in your to-do done. Make sense?
Is that realistic?
Yes, very realistic. You just need to be cheeky enough to actually push back.
It's actually it's a strategy that we use, which is also where we have one person on the team for every iteration, designated firefighter, and that person's job is essentially to be the interruptible sacrificial lamb, so that if a production system falls over, if somebody has a usage question, they can drop out the stream, and we deliver. We get that person to not work on story cards per se.
But that's also a bit of a Scrum but. Right? We kind of do Scrum, but we sacrifice our sacrificial lamb. I'm having a dig. Yeah. It is very doable. Is it easy? No. All right? There's a lot of challenges to get that right. Big cultural mindsets have to go through. Unfortunately, it's a matter of, I need software to be done. If I don't ask and get all this done, I'm not going to get it done. So let's rally the troops, get everyone involved. Maybe it's something we'll get done. We've got to break that mindset. Just get it into a queue, and we'll chip the work incrementally and get there. Put it in the queue, get it in the backlog, we'll get it done. It's a mindset change. You just have to break that. Okay. Good quality furnishing. I went to one place with the chairs. At the end of the day, you got home and you're like, oh, geez, not so nice to sit on the sofa. Just so uncomfortable. Desk space, you're sitting there, and the guy next to you is like, every time they swiveled their chair, they bumped you. All right? You're trying to squeeze between everyone, and you, like, oh, no. You need a bit of space around you. You need a little bit of desk space so you can turn and draw and that. You need to be comfortable in the work. You don't need a huge, massive amount of space. You just need to be comfortable. Okay? Wall space. Need wall space. A lot of whiteboard areas. Place, put a wall on. I'm very tactile. Have a place on the wall. That's a focus point. My favorite one, there's a couple of people in the room that know me. Come, let's talk at the wall. Right? Kind of thing. The wall. Right? It gives you a point of focus, and it gives you that mental side of, let's think. But these are the little things to get people focusing. This is what we have to do, guys. Right? They're the subtle things that keep people focused. And this is what makes people perform. Keeping focus. It's too easy, especially a developer. I am one. All right. Ooh, shiny. Off at a tangent. All right. So keep focused. I see something in the code. Ooh, that looks wrong. I want to go fix. All right. No. That's tech debt. Okay. Something like that. A lot of wall space. Desks in the middle. All right. Whiteboard space. Got a problem. Go draw. Lots of pens, by the way. right? Worst thing is having nice wall space, no pens. Okay?
Suggestions for how to work with this in an environment that's not ever, like a warehouse open plan type office where it's in desks and models.
You can get. Do you have windows?
Kind of over there.
Yeah. So you're the unfortunate guy that are smack bang in the middle. Portable. You get those portable trolley whiteboards.
Enough of those make a wall.
Hey?
Enough of those make a wall.
Yeah. Beautiful walls. Yeah. You need lots of wall space. And they're both sides, so you can share it with the guys on the other side. So yeah. I'm finding quite a few companies are actually, a lot of companies I'm seeing, I don't know, who's here, by the way, started to actually have Agile workspaces now? Yeah. Yeah. I'm finding companies that are starting to see really value are starting to actually change their physical structures to support these Agile teams because there is benefit. It adds value, but as long as you've got something to write on, yeah, you're great. Radiators, either lights, so if your builds break or tests are breaking, you want it visible so someone says, boom, something's wrong, let's fix it. All right? Also like dashboards, TV screens, central computers, showing the current build status, what's going on, if you've got a lot of builds going through, what's the quality of tests, burn down graphs. Make that information visible. There's a lot of external people that find this information very valuable too.
So do you, in terms of like impact on high-performing teams, do you see this? Do you see the benefit from, say, like a technical radiator, like things like build state, test time? Do you see, say, project metrics in there as well sometimes, like velocity, backlog, stuff like that?
Yeah. I like a dashboard that rotates with little bits of snap information. Also a little bit of news or a cartoon joke every now and again. Make it a bit exciting as well. Daily build it popping up. Yeah, it's nice. Radiator lights, you see, the problem is if your lab environment breaks, your continuous integration environment breaks, you want to know immediately, right? Because the problem is when those things go red is not fixing them. So when it goes red, you need to fix it. If it's gone red, woohoo, you've just prevented a bug going into production. It's a great thing. All right? That's not a bad thing going red. If your business has got a culture of red is bad, change it. All right? Red is brilliant. All right? Yes, you've just prevented a bug into production. All right? Yeah. The problem is not making it go back to green, letting it stay red there for a couple of days. No. Okay.
There's also a symptom if it's green all the time, it means your devs are too cautious. They're afraid to check in, they run the test on all
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
another symptom.
Very. Oh, you've just got a brilliant dev team. Yeah. They do need to be courageous. Very valid point, and I agree with that. I can't say enough about good communication. Any Agile team, communication is good. If you distribute it, instant messaging, voice, videoing, desktop sharing capability, because especially if you're a remote team, hey, look at my screen, desktop share. All right? The worst thing is, I hate desktop sharing, but as soon as you put desktop sharing in, you can't have voice. Because there's not enough bandwidth. All right? Yeah. Try having a long distance call to like the UK, where, yeah, it's nice they can see your screen, but they can't understand what you are saying. So, yeah, there are challenges. All right. So, Scrum Bites. Right. So you know what a Scrum, but we do Scrum, but yeah. If you got anything from a Scrum side, now Scrum gives you the core framework, all right? The core framework rules in Scrum, you don't change. You don't change the ceremonies. You don't change any of those core things. They are there. They are frameworks. Within that, you're free. We all write different software for different environments, for different clients. That you can change. But the core framework stuff, don't change. If you change that, you're doing something wrong. That I can pretty much guarantee. All right? You're doing something wrong. All right? It's that, you know what, we in this waterfall mindset, but we're scared, so we're going to implement this instead. All right? We want to control Scrum. All right? No, that's the idea. We want it to run. We don't want to constrain and control it. So, yeah, if you've got Scrum, but get rid of them. Keep it simple. Scrum is very simple. It's a very simple framework. But what makes Scrum difficult? All right? It's intensely difficult to get to grips with the fine art of it. Right? And that is what the challenge of Scrum is. It's easy as a principle. But to actually put that into impact in a business that's never done Scrum before, now there is the challenge.
It's simple but not easy.
Yes. 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 It's not easy. Keep it simple. All right? Evolve, mature. All right? And I always say, be pragmatic about it. All right? Yes, we do need some governance, but we don't need to go overboard. Right? We don't need metrics for everything. All right? All right. All right. Now, when you're migrating, just master the art of doing the basic, simple thing. Get into the routines of your stand-ups. Retrospectives, do them. All right? I love teams that are saying, I don't think retrospectives are important. Methinks you don't understand the idea of inspection. All right? I would like to inspect the fact that you don't like. All right? There's a good topic of discussion. Let's talk about it. Ooh, we've just had a retrospective.
So my experience with that kind of thing is it's usually a red flag for some other external pressure like deadline pressure, something like that, where people will throw out core behaviors because of. So the moment that's suggested, you can sort of, okay, what's going on here? Why grooming? So it is actually seriously inspecting. That's often a good thing.
Yeah.
People do that.
Inspection is the best thing you can do, because what does inspection do? All right? Inspection manages people's expectations. By inspecting the whole time, you're communicating. Communication allows people to understand, get on the same page, and you manage their expectations. There's no surprises. And that's really what it is. You're managing people's expectations. Once you've managed their expectations, you actually have a pretty easy ride. Right? It's when you're not doing that. That's where the problem comes in. In terms of pressure deadlines and all of that, well, you know what? If you've set unrealistic goals in the first place by not actually learning the team's velocities, all right, and saying, oh, I think the team's velocity is going to be this, well, whose fault was that in the first place? Right? The other reality is, it's going to take yay long, like it or not. All right? Oh no, let's burn the team. Yeah. All right? At the end of it, their workload goes down. I've got some really good trend graphs that I've built up over time and over a lot of teams, where I've seen burns on teams where like work long hours, long weekends, and you watch their velocity afterwards. It drops. It drops badly. So I've got a lot of trends where I've actually I've actually seen the rate of decline in velocity after burn periods. It defeats the point. Right. Inspect, adapt. Need not say sign. Now this is most probably the important one, all right, about a high performance team, is self-organization. Most teams don't get this concept. What does it mean to be a self-organizing team? All right. Now, Scrum Masters. Who are the Scrum Masters here, by the way? Yeah. Okay. So from a Scrum Master, Scrum Masters, you're a servant leader. All right? You're not the go-to guy. All right? You don't do everything. The team must do it themselves. All right? You're not the middleman. All right? The team does that. I love going into teams where everyone has to go through and channel it to the Scrum Master. All right? No. The team needs to be self-organizing. They need to take ownership. They need to communicate. Why do you want to be the middleman when the team can go to the user and ask the question directly? He does one barrier in place. Where the Scrum Master plays a part is, okay, why is this not happening? Let me now go to coach the other party of why it's important that that collaboration must happen. Right? That's where the Scrum Master comes in, to break down those barriers and to help that grow. But the team must do everything for themselves, all right, from a self-organizing side. So teams need to be self-organizing. They can change, do whatever they want to from a team point of view to get the job done. The most important thing to a team, all right, is the remaining work. Nothing else. There's one metric that's important. What's left? All right? Nothing else is important in a team. Not velocity, nothing. What is remaining? Okay? So I love it. As a self-organizing team, stand-ups in the morning, all right, from a self-organizing team. I love it when everyone stands there and the Scrum Master stands there and they're reporting back to the Scrum Master. No, wrong. It's morning stand-up is a peer meeting where the team talks to each other. All right, Scrum Master, step out. Guys, talk. Your goal, see what's left. What are you going to do to get it done? That's the purpose of a morning stand-up. Self-organize today, inspect today, what's left and how you're going to get it done. All right? There you go. The team needs to self-organize, learn to solve their problems by themselves. When there are blocks, the team must unblock them themselves. All right? They must be able to manage, reorganize, change the way they do things to get the work done. They have full authority to manage themselves. All right? Obviously, there's certain, so they're self-managing. They can make, and they have the authority to make any decision that they want. Obviously, there are restrictions like health and safety and legal and contractual obligations, and they can't hire and fire. Maybe they can. Maybe they've been given that right. But there are certain logical restrictions. But a team is self-managing. They are held accountable as a team for managing themselves. Right? Their management, right, the Scrum Masters is a managing position, and any other management is a servant leader. What can we do for you as a team to help you better perform? All right? That's the idea of what a Scrum Master is. What can I do to make you guys perform better as a team? Does that make sense? All right. Most probably this is one of the hardest things for new teams to actually get. That, yeah, you can change it. If you don't like something, if the stories aren't good enough quality, so what are you guys going to do to fix it? All right? Don't use the retrospective as a bitching session, all right? All right? And nothing gets done about it. So what are you guys going to do about it to fix it? Make the decisions. Do it. All right? And you're accountable for it. All right? And that's the coaching side. All right? A lot of teams think they want to be told what to get. They want to be told what to do because that's how they've been treated in a waterfall side. The traditional project managers. Okay, Bob, you're going to do that now. All right? Yeah, sure. How long do I have? No.
How do you handle when people do not seem to want to do that? Like they're like, oh no, I don't want to get involved in that. Oh, that just sounds political and I don't want to get involved.
Tough. This is your job. Yeah. You've got to be an adult here. You want to be a professional. Unfortunately, a lot of the old traditional management is around you know what, we're going to treat you like kids. All right? We're going to treat you like kids and not adults. No. Be adults. Treat them like adults. And if they fail, let them fail and coach them to improve. Inspect and adapt.
That's a hard one, particularly I've been in organisations that are adapting to Agile. And fear of failure, like, I mean, places where you cannot stand up and say, we did this wrong, and this is how we're going to do it in the future. That you get nailed if you use the word failure, for example. I've always found that really hard to mitigate.
Yeah.
You just don't get on.
You've given me an idea for another talk. Thank you. All right. I like calling them the do-it-yourself team. All right? So our self-organizing team is a do-it-yourself team. See this work, get it done. Bye. All right? All right? And organize yourselves how you want to get that done. We'll help you get the right resources, the equipment, and the kind of skills you need in the team. All right. So, can a team do this? Yes. All right? They just need the support behind it. Another challenge area, product backlog. All right, from our side. Now, when we're looking at the side, we don't want to go through product backlog and get to the detail requirements well in advance. We want to get a list of all the requirements, rough ideas of what we have to build, so we can have a full product backlog, but the detail can be very granular. But before they get into actually a sprint planning session, all right, you need those requirements to be good, high quality stories or product backlog items. I'm saying stories, I mean product backlog items. In a Scrum world, we don't say you have to use user stories. You can use use cases, whatever you actually want. All right? But you need to make sure that when you go into a sprint planning, those requirements are in a good state. All right? And that's done through a grooming cycle. 10% of your team's time should be spent on product backlog grooming. Constantly getting ready the next bunch of stories for the next sprint. All right? Going into the details of those items, making sure they've got acceptance criteria in them, there's no ambiguity on them, and making them small enough to be done. That's the grooming cycle. So when it gets into sprint planning, everyone's got an idea of what has to be done, all right, in their side. They've heard the story a couple times. The acceptance criteria is done. So we don't start having debates about, oh, and what about this, and what about that? If you are having those discussions in your sprint planning, something's wrong. Your grooming cycle's not right. There's a smell there, right? Your sprint planning meeting must be pretty smooth. Sprint planning, guys, here's the stories, here's the expectation. Here's a whiteboard, go draw some diagrams. Ooh. Ah, lovely. It does help to put the power switch on. So from the sprint planning is, here's a whiteboard now, go draw some diagrams up on what classes you're going to build and how you're going to test this, and test is what test data you're going to go through and how you're going to build these scenarios. Look at the acceptance criteria, which ones can we put closer to the code in unit tests, and which ones do we have to automate, and which ones do we have to maybe do manually. All right? Team huddle, go figure it out. That's the purpose of sprint planning. All right? Not to sit and debate on what we're going to do. All right? All right? The what part should have been done before. Sprint planning is how are we going to do this? It's the design session. Yeah.
Can you give us an overview of what is expected?
All right. So a product owner is responsible for the product backlog. All right? They own and accountable for the order of the product backlog and to determine which is the highest return of investment items first, the order of that backlog. Now, order could be a value of what's the priority on a business purpose, the best return of investment, or highest risk areas. So order is a subjective term. What they feel is the most important. They are accountable for that. They are accountable for making sure that that order is maintained. All right? The team is then responsible for the sizing of that backlog. All right? Product owner now has to make sure, based on the size and the velocity of the team, oh, I've got new requirements. I must either find more budget or I must cut something out of a lower value. Not the team. All right? Now, a good product owner might take it to the next level of where they start writing, and I've worked with some really great product owners that will start actually writing the user stories and putting acceptance criteria in, all right, into that. But normally BAs and team and testers will assist them in that process to help decomposing and getting a clarity. Because some product owners are very focused on, this is the vision that I have, but I don't quite know how I'm going to do this technical because I'm not a technical software person. So they need that skill. Some product owners do have that skill. But the product owner is accountable for that backlog. They've got to know the value of every item in that backlog. All right? So when there's business questions, you need to be able to talk to that product owner and say, trade-offs here.
So presumably seeing that is part of the Scrum Masters role in the sense of identifying where, say, for example, developers can support the product owner with technical feedback, stuff like that, and ensuring and facilitate and making sure that happens.
Yeah, well, Scrum Master is team, product owner, talk. Yes.
Is there a difference between a product owner and a product manager?
All right, depending on the nature of your business. So a product owner normally is for, it could be the same. So if your product manager is representative of an external user base, so let's say you're writing a product that you're marketing out, then yes, you've got a product owner. All right, that's taking that role as a representative of a bigger body. So yes, they could be the same person.
The key is the product owner is your single user voice, that single point of authority on the backlog.
Yes.
You don't have all these competing priorities for
Yes.
people if they're serving that point.
Yeah. So if they say, tag, this is my highest ordered item, it goes. All right? The team's not going to go, no, we're going to do the 27th item. Not on. Right? They make that call, they're accountable for it. All right?
Would you expect a product owner to be all the time?
Depends on the size of the project. So if it's a small team, they need to be easily contactable. All right? It depends on the product owner's skill as well. So some product owners I have found are very visionary people. Normally, if it's a small business that you're writing some software for, unfortunately you don't have a lot of their time, but they need to be available to the team and to own that backlog, as long as they're keeping their backlog in good shape. It's good. As long as they are available for the key ceremonies and to answer questions with reasonably little delay, I'm okay with that. If you don't ever see your product owner, I have a problem with that.
What do you think about having more than one product?
No go. However, on a very large product, so if you have a very large product, there's got to be one product owner, but they could delegate different functional areas to, let's say, area specialist product owners. All right?
Someone's very single voice for that area.
Yeah. So there is one person that's fully accountable for everything. Like especially when you start working in the 7, 8, 9, 10 team style side, to manage a backlog for one sprint over 10 teams, it's impossible for one person to deal with. All right? So you might have functional areas. All right, these guys are dealing with the website side, and these guys are dealing with the billing, and these are warehousing or whatever it is. Answered?
Got two projects because I'm from university and one is from the, it's all done by grant, so one's from the funding furnishing perspective, be technical. But from the planning perspective, they have requirements as well. We have to try.
Yeah, they should go into the, well, it depends on the nature. You should really have one, because the problem comes in is when there's conflicting opinions. Who's going to win? Now suddenly you're going to wait until the dust settles.
They're planning for your own.
So then they're the real product owner. Yeah. 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 All right. So, oopsie, wrong way. So you've got to groom the backlog constantly. Quality requirements. I can't say enough here. Your requirements have to have high quality. Folks, I see this all the time. Learn to write small, incremental requirements. Look, we can log on. Oh, look, we stop bad use. It doesn't throw in bad error when we get it wrong. Oh, it displays a nice little color code. Oh, now look at our site now. It's branded, all right, to the company side. You don't have to do everything in one go, all right? Oh, it's no longer a hard-coded username. It's actually looking at it from a hard-coded list. Oh, now it's in a database. All right? You see, you're still adding value incrementally. All right? We're still doing a logon screen 30 stories later. Oh, look, our calculator can add we can type numbers into the calculator. Oh, our calculator can now add. Oh, our calculator can now subtract. All right? So you're building. You don't have to build the whole calculator. All right? You slowly increment that functionality. All right? And build up on it. And this is the art. I'm very soon going to be doing a talk on how to make small stories. I see this as a common problem in more teams. Small requirements, small stories, easy to test, create that heartbeat that you need in a team. That's what you want. Acceptance criteria. Yeah.
On the last point, how do you represent stories that are blocked on other stories? So, for example, the login thing, the hard-coded, database, etc. It's kind of a sequence of stories there.
Ordered list.
But if you've got potentially 3 or 4 pairs of developers, they obviously can't do them all in parallel.
Very easy. Sometimes you can, but what I try to do, I like getting my stories to about half a day, all right, worth of development and a half a day worth of testing. So in a team with a couple of development, my let's say, heartbeat that I'm doing of moving stories to done is quite quick, and I'm getting movement, because then I can get a predictable done, a bit delayed, a very long delayed, done. You get that rhythm going, and that's your true velocity. When you've got stories that are 4, 5, 6 days, your risk's too big. The way you get those small stories, start building acceptance criteria. If you start having a lot of acceptance criteria, break them down. All right?
Yeah, so you just decided as a team to not pick up that card from top instead of the next card.
Yeah. Okay. Last one, definition of done. All right? Define the definition done and inspect that. I am running out of time with this, but I'll just go through a few key things. Practices. Get your automation. I've discussed this. Set that all up. Unit test integration, behavioral, functional, and regression testing. Get that going. Set those good practices up on a continuous integration. Quality in a team, it's a team mindset, not a tester mindset. Inspect the whole time. Quality, quality, quality. Metrics. Have metrics. It does help, like code coverage, complexity. It does help people understand the throughput. Technical debt. Keep working it and removing it, but do it in a managed style. Have a backlog of tech debt and give your team 10% of time to deal with that tech debt backlog. Right? So when someone sees something, oh, that's wrong, put it up on the tech debt backlog and say, okay, team, in the sprint, 10% of the time, what do you think is the highest tech debt? No, if they're going to give you capacity of 10% of your team's time, team can manage it. If you've got a very technical product manager or product owner, then if they want to be involved, be transparent.
The other thing I find, some days I don't believe in tech cards, in the sense that really you can still usually tie those things back to business value. Like you look at it and say, okay, so this code is probably bad, right? You should be able to say to the business owner, if we fix that, you will get faster delivery of features, for example.
Sometimes it's just
usually.
Because you see, in Agile, we're constantly improving and adding new functionality, and what we thought we were going to do a year ago is not what we're going to do today. So our learning, our experience has changed. Welcome to tech debt. It happens. So it's something, our engineering practices a year ago is different to our engineering practices today. We've all matured, we've learned. So we want to improve the quality of the code, the maintainability of the code. It's value. So it is value, but sometimes the product owner can say, I agree with that. Guys, you just deal with it. Teams should have a no-block attitude. All right? Nothing blocks us. And if it does, management, Scrum Masters get in and help them get through those blocks. The only thing that's important in any team, what is left. That's it. Management support, servant leaders. Not command and control. It doesn't work for an Agile team. Work as a team. I think this is very self-explanatory. Stop doing mini waterfalls in an Agile team. Dev, tester, you're a pair. One of you is writing code. Tester, you're writing quality. All right? Work as a team. BA, you're contributing in the team to the intellectual knowledge. All right? Fast continuous integration. Throughput to testing is important. Cut out non-Scrum meetings. If it ain't to do with what's remaining, all right, don't do it. If it's the ceremonies, grooming, sure, do it.
Are there any other Scrum leads?
No.
So, this talks obviously primarily about practices.
Yeah.
And practices that are common to high-performing teams. Do you see any personal characteristics that are common to high-performing teams? Are there attributes of the people themselves that you look at and you say, oh, I've got a team full of people with this mix of skills and personality traits. This is probably going to be good versus
More a person that says, I'm willing to work with someone else and I'm not the know-it-all. All right? I have colleagues and we are responsible together to get done. I'm not the main cheese here. All right?
Heroes to go to, guys.
That's the one I was looking at. The hero.
I worked 50 hours this week and I did because of me.
I don't want a hero. If you want to get a hold of me, there's my details. I'm on LinkedIn. You can. I normally talk at the BA user group, the Scrum user group, vic.net.
Oh, the stuff on Meetup?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get that in mind, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very good. Really interesting.
Great. Thank you.
Great stuff.
Yeah, great.
Thanks very much. That was really awesome.